by Mike,
Yo,
JWS,
Greetings.
and Jez.
Evening.
I don't know why I said that of low energy. And Jez.
Evening.
Well, Jez, your energy doesn't match the result and the performance yesterday. Your energy is upbeat, full of effervescence and enthusiasm. And Liverpool's players were anything but going down at the MX to Brighton. Brighton 2, Liverpool 1 was the final score. Last time around, JWS, I was gassed by the second half of Liverpool's performance against Galatasaray, and I said to you, could use it as a springboard. I had a feeling that we can now go on a run and they'd use the fuel of the
And my response was,
fantastic performance. You laughed at me, basically. It didn't happen, right? So, if you were talking about me, double S, and not to me, would you call me delusional or desperate?
no, I'd call you a hopeless romantic.
Well, what would you call the performance that you saw yesterday? That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, I would call that a horror show. That's what I'd call it. Do you remember those in the 90s, those they're called video nasties, they're called. Like,
Indeed.
Chucky and all that kind of stuff, yeah? This was a football nasty. It was X-rated, it was 18, like Freddy Krueger style. It was horrible in every way.
Mike, it was Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare at the MX. We did not expect, well, I did not expect such a come down from what we saw in the week. Did you? Were you in my camp of being enthusiastic and positive, or were you like a doom and gloom, particularly given Salah's absence?
I was expecting it, and I was expecting it because this team can't. It seemed string two results or performances together. Allison didn't fancy it. Mo didn't fancy it. I didn't fancy it. That's why I didn't watch the first half. I knew it was coming, and in some ways, I know I'm laughing now, but I was laughing at the time. But I kind of knew after Gala because I thought this team. I think they only raise themselves when it comes to the main events. And Brighton 12:45 kickoff on a Saturday. You know, the manager already laid the excuses on the floor in the press conference when he was complaining about the scheduling. So I kind of knew we were gonna lose. I was hopeful we might, win, but I was mentally prepared for it. And how it unfolded, I think 2-1 did us a favour because it could have been about 3 or 4 really in the second half. But that's typical Liverpool. One step forward, one step back.
I mean, you didn't fancy it. I thought the players would be highly motivated, right? There's how many games left now? 6.
Wow.
And whilst our rivals, well, up until Villa today and United edged ahead slightly, whilst Chelsea in particular are really struggling, I thought it'd be an opportunity for them to be like, you know what, international break is coming up. Let's just put everything into this. And Jez, my thing was at least show the energy. So Mike checked himself there. Yeah? He said expected result and he stopped. He said performance. And the performance element is the one that gets to me more than anything because I thought they just put everything into it. Didn't you think coming into that game that they should be 100% motivated? And what do you think's stopping them? Is it tactical? Is it the individuals? What's going on?
Who knows? And I think that's the issue that nobody has the answers. The players clearly don't have any answers. The manager doesn't have any answers. We're all here baffled here as fans. And like you say, that it was a perfect opportunity to put some pressure on those that are above us, given that we played after United and the result that United had Friday night. So it wasn't even like, oh, we're just going to play our game and then see what happens around us. There was some element of certainty with actually how we could affect what was happening around us as well. And yes, they had a great result against Galatasaray. I called that 1-1 because a bit like Mike, you never quite know what you're going to get from them. So I kind of knew it was coming. I just thought it might have come on Wednesday rather than Saturday. But they didn't seem to like exert themselves too much against Galatasaray. So for them to look as laboured and tired as they was just I can't explain it. And like I say, this inability to put two results back to back, let alone 3, 4, 5, 6. I called it last time. The last Premier League game. This is crisis. To me, this is crisis mode.
Double S, going to come back to you. I guess if you're being kind to the team, you might say, actually, mitigating circumstances and factors. Mohamed Salah missing after such great performance in a week, and Ekitike going off early. We still don't have Isak. So that's 3 out of, well, it's what we would have said at the beginning of the season is our top 3 attacking forces, not in the team. So how much leniency could you give to at least like the attacking impotence or lack of that you witnessed on Saturday based on circumstances?
No, none at all. Because it's like we have to be real now. In the Premier League, you're going to face adversity. You're going to speak sometimes about key players. You're going to face injuries, suspensions, whatever. That's just every team. I mean, Brighton have got a 40-year-old midfielder in James Milner. They've got a 35-year-old in Danny Welbeck. I don't even know half those players. They must have had injuries, but they still put up a performance. The guy at Brentford, we've got David Moyes is 3 points behind us. Look what he's got to work with. He ain't got any world-class players. This is, if it was a one-off match, I would listen to it. But we have seen this. To be fair, it's got to the point about I don't even think Ekitike or Salah or Alisson would have made much of a difference. Not that they're rubbish players, but this has been going on all season.
So you're saying it's a system thing? Is that the
Of
issue?
course, it has to be. It's not. You can't blame or pin it as much as we joke about Salah or Kanate. We can't pin the whole season on one player. No way, no way. We have across the board players underperforming. It's like had Salah been on the pitch, that wouldn't have stopped Kanate from getting dunked on at the far post by Thingy. And even then, yeah, he was in a bad position. But to be fair, that's just one goal. All the other goals, the other goal as well wasn't necessarily his fault. It's just piss poor.
And Salah's not even been that effective, so I can't even say that we can even look at him like it's a big miss because he's been on the pitch and he's been missing for so many games this season.
Exactly.
And that attacking potency is just not there. And a Ekitike going off, you're kind of like, now what are our options? It was almost a bit like, sorry, I've just jumped in there.
No,
it
go
kind of felt a bit like when we played that Champions League final against Real Madrid, that
2022.
When Salah got injured, he was across his arm, and that you saw that effect of him going off and how it was the rest of the team. It was almost like that with Ekitike, and that was like 3, 4, 5 minutes in, and it was just like, wow, okay, what's the next 85 minutes?
And Ekitike hasn't been banging goals of late anyway, has he?
You see?
Yeah, I think we would be overstating his importance, right? I don't want to downplay his contribution, but the Ekitike impact. He's a new player into the team. He's done well, but yeah, there are lots of factors at play here. Okay, well let's get on to that first goal because Double S, you did allude to it, and I'll give you the floor on this one. It was a long range pass that found its way into I think Gomez.
Yeah,
he knocks it across. Nice cross actually to Welbeck, who nods down for the first of his 2 goals. He's leaning back, so I thought actually maybe the keeper could have done better, but he didn't seem bothered also by the presence of Kanate. So I really was disappointed from an overall defensive standpoint on that one. How about you?
Yeah, all around visually it looks bad in Kanate, right? But I don't want to just put it on Kanate, but because Kanate is such a big guy, he should be more aware and be timed to. But then I'll give praise to Danny Welbeck because at his age to still get up and get the power, even when he celebrated the second goal. Do you see how he just leapfrogged the guy? I don't know. Do you remember when he when he was waiting for the VAR decision? He just leaped. I'm thinking, wow, he's 35 and he's still got that. So I respect his athleticism and so on and so forth. But that collectively, that goal was just, I won't say as comedy of errors, but it was a collection of defensive mistakes, which has been the hallmark of our season, to be fair. So I wasn't, as much as I was disappointed, I looked, I thought, oh, well, it's typical. I wasn't surprised. I really wasn't surprised. Disappointed, but never surprised. Not from what I've seen this season.
My problem with it was it had the feeling of, look, the overall game, I've said this before, when it gets into that territory of it feels 50-50, it feels like it's in the balance, right? It could be Liverpool at the flip of a coin on another day, but it so happens that the opposition go ahead and it's from that kind of goal. You know, that kind of goal, the set piece goal, or a goal that looks coordinated that Liverpool really should be dealing with defensively. And I was hoping that we would, as we get into this part of the season, iron those things out of our game and sharpen up our concentration. And Mike, I didn't see it, but with the first 15 minutes or so before that goal arrived, I was like, we're playing okay. We're doing all right. What did you expect after that start? And when the goal arrived, were you surprised?
Because the goal was unavoidable. I think you probably know, leading up to the goal, the mistake between Mamardashvili and Konate.
Yes.
That ball went out.
Please talk about that. Thank you for bringing that up.
It's. I mean, again, I think Mamardashvili overall had a decent game, to be fair. So I'm not going to throw him under the bus. However, that was the catalyst to the goal. I don't know why our players seem to have the habit of passing the ball to his wrong foot, which again leads to him making an error. Flashes the ball to Konate. Konate can't control it, goes out for throwing. At that particular moment, I said goal, because I knew what was going to happen. I just knew literally a minor
had a vision.
mistake was going to lead to a goal. And that was it. I mean, basically, we had opportunities to clear it, but it's almost like it's a catalytic effect. When one person makes a mistake, it kind of leads on to two other three players being out of position. I remember seeing Konate was actually ushering people to come back and help defend the throw-in. There weren't any urgency to come back. And like you said, Konate could have done better with the header, but I think Welbeck deserves his applause because he actually taxed it quite well. But that, for me, again, any kind of adversary or setback, I knew from that moment I couldn't see us scoring 2 goals to win the game, essentially. And I think that disbelief kind of spread throughout the team, because after that sucker punch, for me, I don't know. I mean, we seemed okay, like you mentioned, Drew, in the first half. But I think now with the amount of games we've got left, we need to look great or good to win the game. Because, the second half, we're going to fall off, which we kind of did in the second half. So, again, I don't want to go on Slots back, but I think the tax didn't help. Ekitika going down, going off. I would have brought on Rio just to give us some penetration up front, give us a bit of speed, a bit of goal. And I think literally the team would have been lifted as well, and the fans, with Rio coming on. I don't want to put too much pressure on the kid because I know he's young shoulders, he's a young man. But at the moment now, I don't see anyone other than Rio to kind of look at any kind of pace of penetration going up front, really. And I think that substitution for me, it almost gave the signal that we're not going to win this game here.
Liverpool's defensive options have gotten significantly weaker, haven't they, Jez, since last year? And even accounting for, in a normal season, you might say we would expect reasonably to have 3 or 4 players unavailable, right? It's just the way things go. And you should be preparing for that accordingly. The options are weaker because Chiesa is even less out of favour than he was before. Because when we had Gakpo issues last year, Diaz will step in and now we're relying on a 70-year-old because Liverpool don't have confidence in what they're doing, and because they really are desperate right now, but not playing like they're desperate. How does the manager reinvigorate this motivation in the players? If you're in his shoes, what are you doing? What are you saying? What action might you take? Forget tactics. Just talk about how you're getting these guys motivated.
I mean, it's 2 things. I'll come back to the manager, but I do want to go back to the goal if I may, because like Mike said, you kind of see it coming. Now, I'm going to use a bit of a netball. I play netball, so use a bit of netball, but it's still ball games. It's the same sort of thing. Now, I say to my team, if the ball is a good ball, there's not much you can do about it. But what you can affect is you can either affect the person who's on the receiving end of it to give them something else to think about. So you've got to be tight. You've got to be on them, getting in their space so they can't see the goal or the pass easily. Or you cut it off at source. And we're not doing either. It is so easy for teams to get the ball and to spray it around and to find a player. There's no pressure on the pass. Not even the direct pass the cross that comes in. It's the pass before that. There's not had it in impacts. And yes, you can look to Konate when the ball came in. Kid had done better with Welbeck. But actually, as you saw that ball coming in, Kirkes was up the back post with two people. There were two of them. On Kirkes is not the tallest player. So actually, he has something to think about. It's like, well, who's helping him? Who's covering that space? Why is he on his own with two people where he can't affect the cross that comes in for Welbeck to head that in? And it's the same thing that's happening over and over again. So they're not hunting in packs. They're not working as a team. They're just all at sea because they're just all individuals. And it's the same thing over and over again. And those are some basic issues that we're just not getting right, and we're not learning from them because we have had so many lessons this point in the season that we just don't seem to be able to learn and grow from it. To go back to your point now about the manager, these are international players. There are a large number of people in that squad who have won the Premier League, who have won Champions League medals. So my question is, why does the manager have to motivate these players? Because they should be motivated themselves. Is it a system thing? Is it a tactic? Do they not believe in him?
I asked the question because they're not playing like there's something serious at stake.
Can I?
This for me is like in my mind, right? When we were going through it at the start of October, whenever it was, when we're dropping points to Palace and Chelsea, and I think our very first pod was a Man United one, unfortunately. And I remember how painful that was. But during those times, I was thinking, okay, maybe they've taken their foot off the gas. They need to really just get in touch with reality and understand that it's a new kind of scene now in the Premier League. There's new kinds of threats. And I thought maybe they'll adjust in time. If you told me 6-7 months down the line they'll be scrapping for fifth with a Chelsea team who are the most abysmal excuse for a Chelsea team I've seen in recent
We're not
times.
even scrapping. That's the problem.
Yeah.
No, faltering, right? It's like it's the worst race for top five.
Can I
I've seen.
just
It's
say
pamphlet.
something? I
Yeah,
also
go
read
on.
a stat on the Athletic that in our first 30 Premier League games, we were outrun by 26 of our opponents.
Yeah.
Do you know how disgraceful that is?
26 out of 30 this season, yeah?
Yes, in the Premier League alone, we were outrun by 26 out of 30 of our opponents. That includes the Wolves game as well, by the way, the one we lost. So, so I'm thinking to myself, if we can't even do the running, that's usually when players don't run,
Nothing
either because
happens.
A they're injured, or B because they don't believe in the tactics or they don't believe in the manager, and this is their silent protest. Do you see what I'm saying?
They
Because
haven't got time to
Yeah,
be
'cause-
protesting.
No, but I also think
but
go on.
it's forget Liverpool. This is just from watching football. You've seen when a player's given up on a manager, they just stop. They stop trying. They just don't care. Just see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
That's just my
actually-
view.
I get that, but
yeah. Go on.
to the point Jez made that these are seasoned pros who've done it. They've been, I mean, talking 10 months ago, whatever it was, right? So, and they should understand when you hear Soboslai talk after that Spurs game when we dropped points, which to me that was the most painful handful performance, just given the circumstances, because it's Spurs, not even the defeats that we've had for us, whatever, but that was bad. And when you hear the players come out afterwards, you think, oh, okay, at least some of you get it, but they don't get it, or if some of them get it, it's not spreading to the rest of the group.
Don't listen to what the players say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go on.
Don't listen to what the players say. Listen to what they're not saying.
Yeah, and I think there's something in that, and I think that, you know, maybe by next season's pod, I'll stop talking about Jurgen Klopp because the guy's gone now. But you know, you hear players saying that they would have run through walls for that man. They would have run through walls, walked over glass and fire for him. I don't see the same with Slot. Jurgen used to say, "Boys, I know you can do it. Go out there, be free, express yourself." I don't think this manager is the same. I think he's very prescriptive, he's very descriptive. And if they don't play that way, because you see that with his substitutions, he isn't changing formation, he's just putting new people in the same positions and things. So he's very fixed on how he wants them to play. And there are clearly a lot of them that don't see that because they're losing that intensity of which they play and have played and have the fitness. So even for the manager to come in and say, "Oh, we can't get so and so can't play 2 games back to back or whatever," or they're in the red zone. These guys were like outrunning people all over. So that stat that James Lester just said it's alarming. But that's got to be down to the manager and how he's setting them up and the tactics. So what can he say? What he's saying isn't resonating with the group because they're just not responding to it because
Really
it's
not.
slow, it's laborious, it's just not Liverpool football. It's just almost like Sunday league. It could be like on some field in the park somewhere trying to play the way that they're playing.
Mike, it's not Liverpool football. And here's another stat for you, Mike, to make you squeam. Liverpool's defeat at the Amex was their 10th in the Premier League this season. It's the first time it's happened since 2016. I think that was under
Double
Brendan
figures,
Rodgers.
man.
And there's more to come, right?
Definitely more to come in the league anyway. It's a disgraceful statistic. It's just very statistic, but also it's almost like the norm now. I don't know how you felt after the defeat, but for me, I felt numb because in the sense of like,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
it's almost like this team will only raise itself, I think, for Champions League nights now to the remainder of the season. And as you mentioned, John WS, there doesn't seem to be any urgency. I don't think they realised the seriousness of the league situation. Just their body language and their actions to defeats and that. I think they kind of think, you know what, we can limp to fifth because as you mentioned, Chelsea are so crap. And Aston Villa, we may even get a fourth. So I don't think they feel that the league position, that's my priority. I don't feel the same. I disagree with that viewpoint. But just the way they kind of take these defeats, like, when we can see the goal, it's like, So, you know, there's no kind of reaction there. So I think they believe that they can limp to fifth and we'll get fifth and the Champions League and that'll be enough. In my mind, it's not. I said this from last season, we were losing games after we won the league. I think we lost the last 4 or 5 games when we lost the league, when we won the league. And I was right that that's going to be almost like a pattern of like, okay, you're used to losing now. And it kind of filtered through to this season, although we won the first 5, well, we won luckily the first 4 or 5 games, but this team now is used to losing. And I think that's what we're seeing now in their DNA. And going back to what you said about the intensity of the football, Klopp doesn't play that kind of football. You know, as you mentioned, Klopp players ran through brick walls for 3 years and then broke. And I think these players now, I think they like the fact that there's not that high intensity, like, as you mentioned, that outrunning teams now. I think they think, you know what, we don't need to run as much anymore. Slot doesn't insist that we do that. So let's almost like not walk our way through matches, but play with less intensity and get a result. It won us the league last year. Let's be frank. That kind of football that we're seeing now won us the league last year. But obviously, you have to evolve and see the danger.
But we weren't getting outrun last season.
No.
Sorry?
We weren't getting outrun last season.
No, but were we playing like high intensity football? I don't know. I mean, I don't.
It was the game of 2 halves, so they could have a poor half and then blow a team away within 20-25 minutes of the following half.
Thanks
Or
to
vice
Mo.
versa.
You forget how much.
We're not even at them levels at all. We're not over 90, let alone doing it in the 20-30 minutes where we destroyed people.
And you forget with people like Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz, they can only play full octane. They can't play this.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both like
They're racehorses. Yeah.
basic. That's all they
Anyone
do.
on this pod miss Darwin Núñez?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the chaos.
To be fair, I'll have to hold my hands up. I do, you know.
Yeah, I think I miss him off the bench as opposed to starting. I mean, these
The
players don't
element
look
of
great,
chaos,
right?
There's no chaos.
There is
Or
no
at least
chaos.
there's nothing
no
really
threat.
there's no threat. There's nothing for the opposition to get worried about.
To go back to those points about how the players are reacting and responding, I worry that we talked about being in transition. I think that this transfer this summer is going to be massive because I think for those that are still left, I'll be surprised if there's a few of them here at the start of next season. You know, Szoboszlai, Salah. You know, we're in transition. Some of those more established, esteemed players that we've got, I don't know if we're going to see as many of them next season. So for them, they're probably just like, you know what, I'm talking to my agent. I'm somewhere else.
I think it's probably even more insidious than that. I think some of the players are thinking, do you know what? This gaffer's not going to be here next season.
There's something
Therefore,
there.
I'm going to save myself for a real gaffer who can bring out the best in me.
You ain't saving yourself if you're playing Europa or Conference.
And I did another WhatsApp group, a Liverpool group, and some people even suggesting, this is not my opinion, by the way, but it's stuck with me. People suggesting that Virgil is saving himself for the World Cup because he's captain.
Well, you better save himself for the Conference League. You're live on LFC Agenda. If you are watching us on YouTube and you're watching the stream, do drop us a comment and let us know. There's a few of you in the chat. Let us know what you think of the performance, of the way forward, and basically the players' motivation. I mean, they should really have professional pride and be attacking this and be like, if I like the manager or I don't, I love Liverpool. I want to get as far as we can do in this league table, as high up as we can. I want to be playing Champions League football next year. If I'm not here, I don't want it to be my legacy that we won the league and then we completely pissed away the season the year after. I would hope. Now, let's get back to the match itself. We spoke about that first goal. It was stoppable at source, as Jez suggested. And even when the ball was floated in, there could have been more done from the defence collectively. Let's put it like that. And Kirke's name came up. A Kirke's goal, Mike. One positive on the half-hour mark. Lewis Dunk gives him a very helping hand, heads back into his path. But, come on, talk about Kirke's improvisation to finish that chance off. Very good, right?
Yeah, very good. I mean, Kirkus has been one of the few shining lights this season. I know Sobside gets a lot of the headlines, but I don't think it could be underestimated how much of an impact Kirkus has had since the turn of the year. Showed great incisiveness, again, will to score and bring this team to level terms. And I don't know what you thought, but I thought it was quite a tidy finish for a fullback.
Yeah.
It was like,
I don't think he had a right to finish it, or at least not in that manner.
No, it was an excellent finish. And I must admit, I was one of probably the many skeptics at the beginning of the season. And I kind of forgot probably, or didn't take into consideration his age. And I think what we're seeing now is a player nurturing to left back role. And I think I think he's one of the few players that can hold his head up high actually this season. Whatever happens at the end of the season, he's been really, really good. And I think that goal that he took was actually quite sublime. Like I mentioned, we're probably back to Luis Suarez days, that kind of thing there. So, yeah, fantastic. And I actually thought, hell, that could be a leapfrog for us to, come back and win from losing position. But, all throughout the game, I know he got subbed off, but he looked a threat down that left-hand side. Showed a lot of tenacity. And I think his link-up play is getting better and better, really. It's a shame he had to go off, but I kind of understood. He gave his all in the Gala match on Wednesday, and I suppose by midway through the second half, he started to tire. But, that goal came out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting it. Like you mentioned, Dunk's assist, greatly finished by Kirkis.
Actually, WS, if we look ahead to next season, rosier times, we hope, and the fullbacks, you want to call them that we've got in Kirkes and Frimpong, I see positivity ahead as they evolve their role in the team. And I think now we're seeing why the manager wanted to make sure Kirkes was blooded in and we weren't leaning on the crutch of Robertson going forward. But I do think that they're going to need to make some adjustments to get that balance right, don't you think? Because I still felt that during the match yesterday, they didn't quite always know on both sides, right, when to attack and when to do their jobs, their fundamental jobs, which is actually solidifying that back line.
Yeah, I know no one really plays this way, but I think to get those two into the team consistently, we're going to have to play them as wing backs, because as regular fullbacks at the top level, they're going to struggle. I think both of them. I think when they're going forward, you can see that they have got. I mean, if we had the Brexit midfield, they would fit in perfectly because the Brexit midfield got through lots of work. But we no longer have that now. We've got Gravenberch and Sobov, and they're like nice-ish players, but they're not going to do the work, right? So with what we have, unless we get like, I don't know, a Baleba or a Wharton or someone like that, is really going to change the dimension of the midfield. For them to actually play, they would have to be a wing backs. They'd have to play as wing backs. So they're the attacking wide players who are coming our opposition. They need to kind of think twice before coming forward. But if we play them as fullbacks, then I think we're sitting ducks, and I think we see that sometimes in games, even this season.
Yeah. So actually, Jez, prior to getting the equalising goal, Liverpool did step it up a little bit, and there was a response. I think there was one chance for McAllister who had a diving header. Didn't really trouble to keep it too much, but forced him into a save. And there's also a chance from Gakpo, kind of burst through into space, as denied by a tackle. How do you think they did for the rest of that half before and after that equaliser?
I mean, what was it? He equalised on 30 minutes, and I kind of, noted the commentary. You hear the commentators going, they've not got going yet. That was 18 minutes, not got going yet. Oh, they need to drag themselves back in the game. 25th minute, like really? So they were stepping up from nothing really, and slowly waking up. But it just shouldn't take that amount of time. And maybe it was just because they were just adjusting to Ekitike. But and I think that going back to the point about those defenders, like Kerkez and Frimpong, you've got Kerkez, who defensively out of the two is the stronger out of him and Frimpong. I think Frimpong probably is a bit more attacking going wise. I think he did really well to anticipate that back pass and to get on the end of it, and it was a very tidy finish. Although there was a part of me that when I saw it going, I'm really glad that you scored that, because if you hadn't, there's so much space behind you. Like, we would have been exposed, because you don't then think that the midfield are going to realise that it's all the way up at the end of the pitch, then try to fill in the gap before he gets back. And it's those sorts of things like that decision making. But ultimately, we can't complain, because we've just been crying out for somebody just to take a chance and just to have a bit of a go, of which he did. But yeah, it was just slow. It was laboured, and it was boring. I was just bored. There were some moments, but not anything. They didn't really lay a glove on them. Didn't make any impression.
I mean, the more I think about it, but the more I think about it, in this situation, in the circumstance that we're in, and given what's at stake, I'm deeply offended by the way Liverpool play football. And what I mean by that is, if you are highly motivated to win a game of football, right, in a way, the manager's tactics and the way you're set up is going to dictate it to a degree, but not as much as if you have pride and motivation and drive and will to win a football match. And I don't see that in these players. But if the first half was 50-50-ish double S, I think it got more 65-35 and actually conceded again to Danny Welbeck. Again, a long-range ball. It was a great cross. I can't remember who knocked it into Welbeck, but it was a tap-in for him, and he was delighted to smash home his second against his former rivals as a former Man United player, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But just before I get into that, I just wanted to add on to your point about being offended. I too am offended, but also we got to think about, and we've seen it at Manchester United, we've seen it at Arsenal, we've seen it at Chelsea many, many times, when players down tools, intentionally or unintentionally, unwittingly, it happens, and we've always kind of pride ourselves in that our players don't do that. But I think we have to admit that we know better than the rest. This is what we are seeing. That is just my view. It's hard to take. It's a hard pill to swallow. But I my eyes are not deceiving me.
I found it difficult to say it. But when I saw what I saw yesterday, I was thinking it a lot. And maybe I've been denied for a while.
Yeah, likewise. Same. It took me a while to get there. Maybe a few weeks before you, but again, we got there. Anyway, getting back to the goal. When I was watching it, I thought, okay, he's offside. He's blatantly offside. So I didn't think. And when I thought VR, I thought, no, he's going to be. Then I had his off. I thought, oh. So I looked back. I thought, oh, that actually kind of is onside. Then I thought to myself, I just knew we didn't have it. We didn't have what it takes to get. The only way we're going to score is if we got a jammy penalty or something like that.
Yeah,
it felt quite Brentford-y, didn't it?
Yeah.
Remember
I
that
just
game?
knew.
Yeah.
And I thought, and in my mind, I'm thinking, even if we get an equaliser, they're going to score in the 90th minute anyway. That's what it always happens. So, so rather than save us.
Well.
Pardon? Yeah, exactly.
Like players knew that as well.
Exactly. So I just thought to myself, we cooked. We're absolutely cooked. And
you know what's quite weird, Jay, was I was looking at Welbeck as a 35, 36-year-old veteran of the Premier League, and England squad was announced recently. I thought he'd probably do a job. He'd definitely do a job coming off our flipping bench compared to the options we've got. And
Absolutely.
then I was looking at James Milner. Damn it.
No, 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 no.
No, no.
We remember the days when he would come on and start fouling people, giving away free kicks and stuff like that, and we would think, oh man.
I
So
was
as
looking
much as
at
I love the
Milner.
guy, how much I
I was
love the
looking at
guy, he
Milner.
had
I
to
was
go.
thinking, no, I want him back. But I was
Oh,
thinking
okay.
you would be a lot more helpful to us than say a Curtis Jones. Not
True,
to
but
pick.
dude, I was looking at Beto yesterday at Everton. I was thinking, you know what?
Oh, allow it, allow it, allow it.
Everton,
I was thinking,
Allow
you know
it.
what? I could have someone like Liverpool. 'Cause the bar is that low. The bar is that low. I'm looking at man like Beto. I'm looking at, you
That's
know
a
what?
yellow card offence, Mike.
No, come on.
That's
No,
a straight red 5-match ban.
No,
that.
Jez, Jay, hear him out. As an option
Go on,
off the
sorry, go on,
bench,
go
you'd
Okay.
go for Beto above Chiesa, would you not?
I think
At
it-
this
Well,
moment in time.
I'm sure Klopp would.
There's a lot of people over Chiesa.
Not that we want Beto in our team, but and
I
look,
hear it.
you know what? Actually, let's
No potency on that bench.
yeah, let's I don't want to talk about this game anymore. I'm just like we've done this too many times. It's not cathartic. It's just painful, and it's rinse and repeat. You lose in all kinds of different ways. We're meek. We know your issues, right?
Yeah.
But let's widen the lens of the discussion and talk about the top 5 race. I need to get my language right. Top 5 race. That's what it's gonna. That's what it's gonna be.
If it's
It's not a
confirmed,
race. It's a limp.
If it goes
It's
down
a
to
limp.
5,
It's like a
yeah,
pub
that's
crawl.
it, we don't know.
Is not confirmed, but I would say, given the fact it takes into account the performances of teams across UEFA competitions, and the coefficient table, of which we are currently top, England's
Right.
top, is more than likely, right? So let's talk about it as a top 5 race.
Gotcha.
And I know Jay doesn't like the word race in this contest. It's inaccurate.
Yes.
The top 5 limp. It's almost like Chelsea with their LinkedIn Liam manager are just like sinking.
LinkedIn
And they ain't got a clue. They don't like their manager. That he's naive. He isn't someone that's going to motivate them. He's worse than anything that anyone thinks Slot is. But still, they're only a point behind. But then you look at the team that beat them, Everton 3-0, and they're only 3 points behind us now. I'm like, how the hell did we get to this point, Jez? And now are you worried by Everton Football Club
It's a problem.
potentially overtaking us?
Could you imagine? I keep going back to like 2005, like it might be 2005 for us to qualify for the next season, and yeah, they could finish 5th, we finish 6th, or some weird thing where we kind of go.
I would love it, but I would not love
in
it
the
for it to have to
preliminary
get to
rounds
that.
again. But then we've been saying it, we've been focusing, and we said it on this pod many times. You know, we keep looking at ahead, going, okay, we're not that far off the people behind us, but we need to also be looking who's behind us,
Yeah.
and it's been changing, you know. And now we're throwing Everton into the mix, but there are more than one team who are bearing down on us and breathing on our necks, and we're not paying any attention to that. I mean, could you imagine Everton? I mean, even if Everton to finish above us, even say we finish 4th and they finish 3rd, like that is just like no, sorry, no, that can't.
There was a time in the late, I think 2010s, early 2010s, they finished above us like 2 or 3 seasons in a row, didn't they?
Yeah.
It
Those are
got
the-
better.
the
You
dark
talking?
days.
Is this Brendan?
No, I'm
or-
trying to
Brindle
think.
Roy.
They finished above us in 05, 06, and then again a few years later. I remember it was like quite. I think it's just after Rafa left.
Yeah, but they've only had Champions League qualification for qualifying
Yeah.
once.
No, I'm talking about being finishing above us, not necessarily the
yeah.
qualification stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need to really be, and like you say, it kind of goes back to the point that you made previously about these players need to be playing like they're in a battle here, because they're not, and it's just, dudes, it's going to bite you on your ass.
Here's the truth about me, Mike. At one point, I was casual about this situation, and I said, it doesn't matter, we drop a couple of points here. Doesn't matter if we don't win this game. You know, as long as we win, 5 out of 9, we'll be good, right? Because I could see that the teams around us, we had Villa at the time, although they picked up points this weekend, they'd lost their mojo. Man United are Man United. It's like, okay, maybe they'll continue their new manager streak, maybe not. And I knew Chelsea were headed for just complete mediocrity under their manager. But now I've had to get real. And now I'm really worried that not even so much Everton catch us, but the ignominy, the shame of winning the title and then finishing sixth when you had 5 opportunities to qualify for the Champions League, which is a minimum requirement. It's almost a sub-minimum requirement, let's be honest. That could become a reality. How worried are you by this happening?
Very worried to the point that I need to start getting used to accepting that reality. Because I thought after the Wolves defeat, that's when for me I thought I can't see this team finishing top 5. That was my mindset.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that was the basement, and we will rise from it.
Well,
that was the point where they convince you they're not going to do it.
Because I think for me, because I kind of knew even a month ago, I thought we were going to get points from Brighton. There's certain games I think to myself, Brighton away is a difficult ground, but I kind of thought home bankers, Spurs, I thought we'd beat Spurs. I thought we'd win.
Even Spurs thought we beat Spurs. Let's be honest.
Exactly. I thought we'd win away at Wolves because they're bottom side at the time, kind of relegated. So when I saw those scenarios not taking place, I thought this team in the league, it's going to be a huge problem. And I think, and I hope that message is coming across in training. But from what I see, when the players come out and they don't show any urgency when the match starts, like it's 0-0, let's get this game done, let's get this game won, and they're not doing it. For me, it's almost like they've kind of written off the league. That's my honest opinion when I look at the players turn up. In Europe, it's different. And we'll see how different that is when it comes to PSG, which I'm sure we'll come to later. But I think league games, especially the ones we've got left, Fulham at home, lately that's been a tough game. Don't want to rise. And then you're talking about, I think, is it 3 games? Aston Villa away. I think it's Chelsea at home.
Man United away.
Yeah. Everton
Palace
at home.
Palace as well.
I'm just looking, yeah.
At home. And then Brentford, last game of the season, at
Everton
home.
away, sorry.
With that striker.
See, I looked at this.
We're not doing it, bro. We're not doing it. I'm telling you now. We're not doing it.
I looked at this
And if PSG do what they're supposed to do, then I think their atmosphere, and you're going to see the Liverpool fan base. But right now, the only thing that's keeping Liverpool fans from a full-scale revolt is that slim hope of Champions League. Once that is taken away from us, and I hope it's not. Once PSG do their thing, then trust me, people are going to lose their heads. I can see people keep. Yeah, I can see it.
That's why pull that trigger now. Pull that trigger now. International break. Slot, thank you very much. He's in Holland. Then I think he's in Holland now. Is it visiting his family? Stay there, brother. So look, stay there. Yeah, go out nice and calm. Because as you said, John, once we get smashed by PSG home and away, oh man, he'll wish he stayed in Holland. He'll wish he stayed in Holland.
And also, like you say, I was just looking at what remaining fixtures out of our last 6 Premier League fixtures.
Let me pull them up, because I was doing that thing, Jez, where I was looking ahead to like
4 of them are against
April
people in
May
and around
thinking,
us.
at least we've got easy March fixtures or relatively.
No, it's from April, mid-April. So it's literally 4 of those 6 are against 4 of those players, and 4 of those teams are in and around us that we need to be getting points, but we can't string that back to back. But that's when we need to have the back to back. We need to.
I mean, Sunday the 19th April doesn't look too appetizing, does it, guys?
Oh man.
No. And look at it. We're
Bearing
playing
in mind, we've also got Man
Man
City in the FA Cup, haven't we?
Yeah. In and around
Going
PSG.
to Everton on 19th. I was going to say that's the one I'm dreading. I'm
it.
dreading all of them, but I definitely don't want
That's
to be
why
in a
I think
situation
for me,
where-
I don't see, and I'm sorry to sound negative, but I don't see this team finishing in top 5. So that's my realization now. Looking at those fixtures, looking at the day's rest, I can see us that maybe do one FA Cup or maybe beat Man City.
So for audio listeners, let me reel these off. Saturday the 4th April, after this 2-week break, we've got Man City away at the Etihad. Then sandwiched in between the PSG games away and home is Fulham at home on the 11th. On the 19th, go to whatever it's called, Dickens Stadium.
Dickinson. Yeah.
And on the
Hill
25th,
Hill Dickinson.
on the
that's it.
25th, we have the visit of Palace. Traditionally, they give us problems at Anfield. Then we go into May, away to United on the 2nd, home to Chelsea on the 9th,
My birthday.
away to Villa on the 17th, and home to Brentford to finish off on the 24th, mate. If I'm being honest, the only one that I feel relatively comfortable about is that one last game of the season.
Yeah.
And
It'll be done by then.
that's only relatively.
Yeah.
It'll be done by then. So like
Salah
looking
Swan
at,
song.
Yeah, and don't forget as well, they've not done the TV fixtures for May. So although they show them being at 3 o'clock on Saturday, you know, when they start moving those things around, you know, in terms of that recovery period between games.
Yeah, the Merseyside derby's never going to be 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
No, so I think that
That's
one's
good.
okay. I think they've gone to
Yeah.
April, but I think it's the back end of April through to the rest of the season that they're still
I
going
know you don't want to hear it, but for me, bring Steven Gerrard in now, tonight. That's what I will do. I'm not one of those romantic fans, but I think for me, just as you said,
What difference is that going to make, Mike?
I think for me, I know it's controversial, but I think Steven Gerrard will lift the club. He will lift the players. I don't think winning those games will slot in. I think with Steven Gerrard in, possibly.
It's
Well,
almost
to be fair,
almost
to
like
be
a kick up
fair-
the Jacksy, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't want Steven Gerrard to be our manager full time.
Not permanent.
No,
just
no,
for
no,
us.
no. Don't worry. I'm coming home. Don't worry. But for to give it Stevie to end the season, as they say, it's got to be better than this. It's
It
really
can't
got
be
to be better
worse,
than
right?
this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
The
you.
the manager is meandering. You know what the most dangerous thing is, Jay, for me anyway. When you have an objective to reach, in terms of your league form, and every game you go into is tough. You know, when managers say it, like when Klopp you say, "Oh, it's going to be super tough," I'll be like, "Yeah, whatever. You got to win this football match. You know we're going to win it, and we will." But you say it all the time, so I used to ignore him. And then you hear Slot say it, but no, you believe it. You believe every game
Yeah.
is tough. And when you look at our two results before this one, a 1-1 draw at home to a Tottenham team who looked deader than a dead horse,
You saw them this morning. You saw them this
Still
afternoon.
dead.
who,
Still
who
dead.
got completely rinsed in what should have been their biggest game of the season. They had a flipping
Parade. You see it? You see that?
parade outside. They had Romero posting shit on Instagram talking about, here's my message from Tottenham fans. Who wants to hear what you got to say? Yeah, on the day Arsenal got finally, you're posting stuff like this. They got butchered, and we drew 1-1 with them. And by the way, it was a sketchy 1-1. And then before that, 2-1 defeat to Wolves, a team that's already relegated, a team that's looking to get relegated, a team that's already relegated, then a team that's got nothing to fight for.
One of the worst teams in Premier League history,
And-
statistically.
And 3 out of those 3 matches, we've got 1 point. Ugh.
Yeah, that's
Why, Jay? Why are Liverpool scared? This is what it is. They're scared of every football match.
I can tell, as a fan, I can tell you why I'm scared because of what they're serving up.
Yeah.
As for the players, I honestly don't know. My only thing is either they're pussycats, which I don't believe they are, or there's something wrong in the dressing room. So I would, you know how, like, do you remember when Ronaldo had his little seizure before the World Cup final? We had to wait years to find out the true story, right? We're going to find out in years to come what happened in 25, 26 inside the dressing room because something's happened. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
it's just, yeah, I don't know what, because thankfully there's been no leaks. That's the
It's
only
been
good
very
thing.
well contained.
Yeah.
There've been no leaks, but you cannot tell me that is a happy dressing room. You cannot tell me that everyone's on board with the manager. You cannot. If that is the case, then we have bought some duds, mate. We have bought some absolute duds. If that's the case, and I don't believe we have.
We haven't.
Yeah. And again, it's taken me a long time to say it, but the manager really got to go sooner rather than later. In reality, probably going to see at the end of the season. My biggest worry for Liverpool, my biggest worry is if Slot starts next season.
It depends on the circumstances.
Yeah.
Pardon?
yeah.
Yeah. What if we win
Depends
the
on the
European Cup?
No, then he's
No.
got to go.
I think the thing is, my biggest worry is if he starts. Even if I know we probably won't, but just work with me here. Even if we were to win a cup double or just a Champions League, I still think he needs to go because, as far as I'm concerned, a European Cup I cannot ignore this Premier League, this form. I cannot ignore it. If he wins it, for me, it's a Di Matteo Champions League, as far as I'm concerned.
I'll give him 6 months. If he wins the Champions League, if he wins the Champions League, I don't know if I could sack him. I would give him.
Yeah, you can't. But this is the thing. As Liverpool, one of the things I struggle with is as a fan base, as a club, we're too sentimental, we're too emotional. Sometimes, if we wouldn't be the first club to do such a thing. Yeah,
you got to see what Chelsea did after winning the European Cup. No one even remembers
Chelsea.
But
no one remembers him.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I think it's like, what's the name? I mean, Del Bosque won the La Liga in 2003, but he got sacked straight after. Sometimes you've got to do it for the greater good, because ultimately the players clearly want him gone, and you can't get rid of all the players.
Yeah,
go on, Mike.
No. I mean, there's mitigating circumstances. I mean, like I said, and I know Slot's had his faults, and I can't defend him too much. But you look at the mitigating circumstances of this season. We don't need to, repeat ourselves what's happened. We all know what's happening. That's why I'll give him, if he wins the Champions League, that is, some grace. Let's see what happens next season. If we get the players back, there's the transition, obviously that extra year. I think the second manager that's won the Premier League last year and European Cup, I would say that's probably, he's earned at least a stable execution for the next season. That's me. Okay. That's my personal opinion.
Would you say that if he doesn't win the Champions League, but wins the FA Cup, you still have the same opinion?
I can go. FA Cup can go.
Right, okay. I just wanted to clarify.
European Cup.
But I think for me, I think the thing that worries me, and I'm probably on the same lines as JSS here, is that if he's to stay, what you need to really build that squad up over a pre-season, and we're not going to have a long pre-season because we've got so many people at the World Cup, so they're going to be coming back late and in dribs and drabs. They're not going to get a full pre-season.
Right.
Anyone else that you bring in, but also even if you give him 6 months and say, okay, he's going to stay execution, see how he's in up until December or whatever. FSG ain't going back into the market in January, so it's whatever happens in this summer window is going to literally be what will shape our season. So you've got to have somebody who's going to be there to see that through all that season.
I don't think they'll leave him without a left winger like they did this summer. I don't think they'll leave him with only 2 centre backs, which is what they did last summer. I'm assuming they've already put.
Well, we've got one in
but even with the squads, and I think that there is something there around the scale of change over the summer. The amount of players that went out, kind of compared to what came back in. But even people say, oh, he's the manager, he likes to work with a smaller squad. He's not using this small squad because he's got people in that squad who he doesn't trust. He doesn't trust Chiesa. He doesn't necessarily trust Joe Gomez. And when Gomez got a run, it was kind of a needs must rather than I think you can do a job.
And
you've got a teenager that he's got to bed in slowly. There's the right back. What was it? Callum Wilson? Who's the right back?
Ramsey.
You're talking about Ramsey.
Sorry. Ramsey, he's actually a right back, but you're not playing him and you put his Szoboszlai there.
He's not going to
and on top of that, getting back to the manager situation, is that the top managers move in the summertime. It's rare to get a Klopp available in this. Do you know what I mean? Those kind of situations.
Who's sitting there waiting? Who's just
exactly. But if we don't go for him like in the summer, he'll end up at I was going to say Spurs, but not now. But yeah,
the chance, Jay, that if we don't qualify for Champions League, he ain't coming anyway. So, Mike, I know you've got to leave us soon. I do appreciate you joining, but just before you leave, let me paint you the scenario. Right, Liverpool get to the end of the season. They finish 6th. There is no European Cup. Sorry, Mike. There's an FA Cup final appearance. That's it. Can you picture him being in the hot seat come the start of the season?
No.
Okay.
No. And like I said, more for his benefit, really, because he doesn't come across as a man that's kind of. I think we would do him a favour if we kind of relinquish all of his duties now, today, this weekend, because for me, it's almost torturous to hear him in the press conferences now. Very defeatist. He's very negative. he's very excuse driven, I would say, when it comes to Liverpool players. And it goes back to what I said before. I think, a fresh voice, someone that can just lift the club, you know.
I happen to think he makes fewer excuses than most managers in his position that are under pressure. What I mean by that is he speaks we've said this before, he speaks very plainly about what he says, almost as if he's having an out-of-body experience assessing his own team. Like he does himself
but
no
he throws some
flipping favours.
subliminals, bro. He throws. I see it. He was saying, I hate wait when he was told about the boos he got at the end of the Spurs game.
He didn't
He
hear
said
them.
something along the lines of,
For the
I
players.
don't like hearing that. Maybe I've done something wrong. You know what he's trying to say? I've won the Premier League, motherfuckers. That's basically what he's trying to say without actually saying it. So I
Yeah,
know.
but then he needs a set of chest.
That's like the Mo Salah, but I got credit in the bank.
Basically, that's what he was trying to say. So
You're better off saying it
right.
with chest. Yeah.
Good?
You're better off saying it with chest and not throwing some liminals. There you go.
Yeah.
Right, Mike, we're going to let you go, but thank you for joining us and we'll catch you
See you,
next
mate.
time.
See you, man. Take care.
Okay, so guys, just the three of us now. And I want to
there
know.
were three.
I want to
Mario, yeah?
know. Let's stick with Slot. The emotional connection with the fans is broken, right? I'm just talking about the booze. I'm talking generally. People feel that the football's boring. They don't feel that his energy is right. And they feel that that's, being reflected in terms of what they see on the pitch. Do you think his connection with the players is broken, Jess?
Yeah, I think we've been talking about it. They just are not buying into what his vision is, and it's so. And regardless of how far removed it was from the previous regime, I think you have to, as professional footballers, you have to accept a new manager's going to come in, new ideas, new whatever, and you go with it. But they just are not buying into it at all. And even those who were on the fringe, because it's quite clear, he kind of got his set 11, although he can't, for various reasons, play that set 11 for injuries or whatever, or the fact that there's players who break down as the season goes along. Like we said, you expect Van Dijk to be out for a period of time. Alisson, you kind of take it now that he's not going to play a full season. But even those that are on the fringe don't seem to want to be forcing their way in and saying, I deserve a place in your first 11. They just seem to be happy just bench warming. And even when Curtis Jones came on, he just didn't look arsed to me. Like, there's clearly something that's gone on there with him. And he's just like, you know what, mate, nah. I wish I could say that more in a Scouse accent, but you know what I mean? But he's a bit like... whatever.
You can't get any more Scouse than Curtis. But he was the one out of all the players last season after Slot left who was like, oh yeah, I really like this situation with the new manager. And now, even for him...
That was tactical, wasn't it?
Which is ironic, because
yeah, but it's reflecting his performances, and now it's not.
That's the ironic thing, I think, with Curtis Jones, is that Curtis Jones struggled under Klopp and that high intensity because he just cannot play that high intensity. So actually, when Slot came in and started slowing it down, hold on to the ball a bit more, you saw more of Curtis Jones, because that's his style. But why is it now that he can't even bring it when he's on?
I'll be honest. I don't think he's got the facilities, bro. He hasn't got the natural tools to be a top player, to be a Liverpool football player.
I think he's got the facility to be a squad player, but he thinks he's better than that. So
Yeah, you can see.
Okay, so guys, let's put cards on the table. Champions League qualification. Let's assume it's top 5. Jez, are we doing top 5 this season?
6.
You think Chelsea are going to rise and overtake us, or you think Everton are going to overtake us? What's going to happen?
I just think it's going to be down to... I think it potentially could come down to goal difference, and I think it's going to go tit-tat, flip-flop between now and the end of the season. And yeah, I just don't see us responding to... Even we've got quite a few Sundays from the fixtures are confirmed, but you kind of know what you're dealing with. I just don't see that response from them. But I think it will kind of go tit for tat, and I think it might end up on goal difference. And I think we're close to shipping 50 goals, as it is. And we're struggling to score more than 2 in a game. So I think it'd be the lack of goals, and defensive leaks on the goal difference, I think that's what's going to just finish us off.
So sick. Douglas, you look like you're scribbling down notes there, Rosinia style, with 2 minutes left.
I'm not. I've got a toothpick in my hand.
Okay, well, you had a touch of the Rosinias about you right there. But do you think that he is going to overtake Slot in this race
No.
for fifth?
No, I don't think so, because as much as we're a basket case, they're a bigger basket case. I think we'll make top 5 just purely by the grace of God. I say that in the season of Lent, 2 weeks to Christmas, 2 weeks Easter, sorry. You know, Jesus rose again, and so shall we, but only just enough to get 5th spot.
Oh well, I'm not. Funnily enough, looking forward to too much. That they're flipping and flopping, like Jez said in this contest. I mean, it's been more flop, isn't it? We haven't seen much flipping. It's been flipping disastrous.
Yeah, flop slots, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, guys,
What are your views? What are your views?
I will
Answer your own question, please, sir.
ask a question without answering. So I feel that, like you, Chelsea are more of a basket case. There's more negativity there. I think universally is this sense that the manager got the job not out of merit, but because he's one of the Chelsea bosses guys, right? Brought him from Strasbourg, but he hasn't got the qualifications, not got the credentials. And so if they stick with him, which I feel they will, until the end of the season, then I don't see that they've got a chance really of doing fifth like us. They've got very good players, or a handful of very good players, but not the system or the belief to make it happen. I think the only thing that might give them some encouragement or make it somewhat more manageable for them is that they've not got Champions League football anymore. But I mean, if you look at the scars that it took from those PSG games, I'm not sure how much it will help them. But I can see us just about doing it.
And their main guys, João Pedro and Cole Palmer, are just not there.
Where are they? They're ghosts.
Exactly. You know, and you can't. I don't know who else is going to score a goal for them. Roy Delap, do me a favour.
Did you see the quotes from Enzo?
No, what were the quotes?
I haven't got them verbatim. I should find them whilst I'm talking to you. But he was essentially saying, I think it's one of those where they do the interview and they, for some reason, think it's not going to come back to English media. He was saying that he's got a really good relationship with their former manager, Maresca. And so he didn't really understand why he left the job. He said sometimes things that players don't understand, how and in what way they tried to manage things. It was a departure that hurt us a lot. He always had a very clear identity. So that is what you call subliminals.
But he's either very, very stupid, which he has proven himself to be, or he's trying to engineer a move post-World Cup.
It could be a mixture of both, Double S, if we're honest. Okay.
But yeah, I think that derby, sorry to jump in, but I think
okay.
that derby is going to be crucial, because I think, to kind of go back in terms of positionings and where we might end up, it's the psychological impact. The minute, because we've got so many of them, the 4 out of the 6 that we're in and around us. I think if we don't get a good positive result against the first of those 4, let alone the 2, I think then psychologically they're gone.
Do you remember, we're going back all good 24, 25 years now. I think it was probably 2002. Or was it 2001? I can't remember. Julio was the manager, and we had about 10 games to go or something like that.
Oh, yeah, the cup finals.
And he said that we've got 11 games to immortality. It gave some sort of quote. I thought, yeah, I've really, I think that's kind of what we have, but not to glory, but to semi-respectability, if you can call it that. I think, yeah.
I think the problem is, and we've spoken about the manager ad nauseum, right? He can't get them up emotionally from where they're at.
No, he can't.
And even it would be handy for him if he was a bit more inclined to be, batten down the hatches. It's all about Liverpool, F the rest. That mentality, at least presenting that. But he is not helping himself.
You know what? If we had a Milner or a Hendo in the dressing room, you know, I think that would have made an impact. I mean, we
Dude, you
mo
literally got Virgil van Dijk.
no, there's
What are
Not
levels,
you
like
talking,
that.
what
but
are you
there's
talking
not
about?
they're
Yeah.
levels. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
And actually,
when
when you talk about Milner, that Milner coming back, I was like, yeah, for that exact reason.
for yeah
Let's
for
continue. Sorry,
in
interrupted.
when they were in the dressing room, everyone said like they would never allow standards to drop, not like that. Even
Yeah,
even
and
even when
and
you
the
have a
manager
bad
wouldn't
period,
have to worry about banging the
basically.
drum because he'd leave it to them. Yeah,
Just I mean, it's very difficult for somebody like Virgil to really when he's making mistakes and he's like letting his man go. What do you mean? You're part of the problem, bro. Do you know what I mean? What do
Yeah.
you mean?
And
So
also, you look at Virgil and the rest of that senior squad. You've got Salah there, who's thrown his dummy out of the pram earlier this season, and then you've got Andy Robertson, who is only there by default because they couldn't get rid of him last summer, and that potential deal to Spurs fell
you know what I
down
mean?
in January, and he doesn't play that much either. So it's kind of like, yeah, there's leaders in the dressing room,
I
but they're
got
not
good
really
news
picking
for
up
you,
the ball.
Jez. We do
Go on.
have Gakpo. Okay, so one of the routes to competing in next season's Champions League is she looks disgusted. Thanks to everyone for joining us on YouTube. We appreciate your company, and for those of you watching back, big up yourselves. Hit that like, subscribe, all that business. All right. But one of the routes to competing next season's Champions League, guys, is by winning the thing. Yeah. Unfortunately, this week, because other teams have had worse weeks than us. Yeah. Chelsea, for example, Spurs, although they won against Atletico Madrid, they got dumped out of the Champions League, and we saw what happened to them today, right?
What happened to them?
They got smacked up by Nottingham Forest. So
Oh no
teams
no
have.
no! I talk about Atletico Madrid. Sorry.
Oh no
Okay.
no 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 no! Spurs. So other teams have had worse weeks than us, right? So we mustn't look at it like all doom gloom, and we're still in this competition. Now we all believe that Liverpool have a divine right to some degree to be competing in this competition. If they're going to do it, one of the routes for next season, one of the routes is to actually win the thing this year. What are your feelings, Double S? I know you said PSG is going to be very difficult, right? But what are your feelings about, let's say they get past PSG?
Oh,
Do you
if
do,
if
do
they
you do you
if we get
think, do
past
you
PSG,
believe? Yeah, could
if
happen.
we if we get past PSG, I'm very much
You're
on
getting the tattoo, yeah.
I'm very much on the slot
It's booked in
to the end
already.
of the season bandwagon and then give. And you know what? What we'll do is if he wins it, is whatever seventh package is, we'll double it. Yeah, just to show him that you know we do appreciate you. Yeah, but you know it's just business. It's just
See,
strictly
see,
business. Do you know what I mean? And you know what? Well, even name like you know like we'll may not give him a statue, but we'll give him a little something, a little plaque. Yeah, we'll give him something. We'll show you always a legend, mate. But sorry, it's
Slot
just
was in.
but we got to move on. It is what it is, bro.
so most people with a heart would be like, oh, he's won the League One season, Champions League
I do
next.
have a heart, and my heart says LFC, not slot. LFC. That's where my heart is.
But Double S says, no, you win the Champions League after beating Galatasaray and then PSG and then Bayern or Madrid and then Arsenal or Barcelona. But thank you for your work and goodbye.
And you know what
Jez,
that will do? And you know what it'll do? That will send a message. That will send a message to players that we have standards, bro. Do you know what I mean? We have standards. We with all due respect, with Rafa Benitez, as good as a manager he is, he stayed far too long, and we put up with him because of Istanbul. For 4 years, we've been putting up for him for years. Oh, but he won the Champions League, and that kind of we kind of set us back a bit. I feel.
yeah,
Do
but
you know what
they
I mean?
did get better. They
Yeah.
actually peaked in '09
And
after
then
year
he,
4.
he, 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 he,
Yeah,
to be
after that.
to be fair, we did have bad ownership. But
I
what
was
I'm
going
trying
to
to say
say
is
the
that
owners were very much
Yeah.
about that.
Jez was there at the front line when that was bleak times, right? But
Painful.
that's another podcast. Jez, let's
Yes.
say, right? I'm giving you the same hypothetical scenario. Liverpool progress past PSG. Do you give them a chance? Can you visualize them lifting that big shiny trophy in Budapest in May?
So who is it if we get past PSG?
Bayern
Real or
or Real
Bayern.
Madrid?
Well, we beat Real, so I don't think there's any fear there. I think if we get past PSG, that's a big psychological boost, and maybe that's the boost that might actually just lift them for the rest of the season. But we are expecting a spanking. If he does get past this, then there's no reason to say that we won't then skip into to the final. And I say skip because I think that they will just have that edge and a little bit of that belief, given how much of a nemesis PSG were for us last season. And then anything can happen. I mean, that's the thing. But then, they can get through PSG, and then who we got? Everton, Palace, Fulham, all these people, and get spanked there. So you just never know what way the cards are going to fall. There is a spanking for a team, I think, in there somewhere. I say spanking as in 3-4-0, but where that lands, your guess is as good as mine. So
a couple of things before we go. I want to talk about Alisson's new contract and Alisson's situation, because I think he signed an extension that keeps him there.
No, it wasn't even signed extension.
It got triggered.
Yeah, it got triggered. So it wasn't really a bigger deal as people made out, really.
It wasn't, which is why we didn't address it actually when it happened. But I bring it up because we have spoken about Alisson's role in this team, and when Mamashvili was announced a year ago or whenever it was, year and a half ago, as the guy that was coming in, we looked and thought, okay, so he could be number one in a couple of years' time. He's come in, he's not blown anyone's socks off, but at the same time, he's not been awful. And you could look at it and you could say, actually, because he's not had the rhythm of getting games, potentially he's not had that opportunity to fully show what he's about. And at the same time, Alisson is picking up a lot of injuries. He he is pretty injury prone. I kind of get the vibes off him, or did up until that announcement that he's nearing the end at Liverpool. Do you think, S, head into next season, that he's nailed on to be number one? And should we just got rid of him anyway?
No, I think he's still going to be number one next season. I think, but I think he also knows. I think he probably wants to go back to Brazil anyway. And since his father passed, he's like, he loves Liverpool, but he's always wanted to be back, and we can tell that. It'll be interesting to see how much he plays at the World Cup, number one. Number two, when we look at Mamardashvili, we are always looking at him through the prism of the greatness of Alisson. Now, if Mamardashvili came in straight after, say, the Karius fiasco, we'll look at him very, very differently. Do you know what I mean? He's a solid goalkeeper. To win great things, we don't need to have the best in class. We just need to have a competent goalkeeper who can do his job. And I think that's what he is.
Raya, we've seen it before, yeah.
Yeah. We just need someone to, and he is that goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? So I think toward the end of next season, I expect him to kind of be making a play for our first team spot. And the fact that the extension was triggered and not a new contract offered tells me that maybe both sides realise this is near the end, basically. Because by next season, he would have done what? End of next season, he would have done 10 years at Liverpool. You can't offer more than that.
Amazing. And I would have thought that in normal circumstances, as in where you didn't have so much squad churn and not so much uncertainty over different areas of the pitch, we might have just let him go in this summer. But since he's going to stick around, Jez, do you see him as number one going into next year as well?
Yeah, I don't think that he will ever have that drop off where you question him being the number one goalkeeper. I think that I'd like to see the manager who is in charge of us next season, whoever that may be, give Mamardashvili a bit more of a run, maybe say in the cup competitions, just to kind of get those minutes. Like JWS said, he's come in and he's done okay. I think there is that rose-tinted glasses looking at him, comparing him to Alisson Becker, but I think you also have to forget that the potency that Alisson Becker brings, or Brian when he first joined us, was actually how he linked up with that central defence, and actually how defensively him and the central defenders in front of them made us solid and kind of impenetrable, really. And I think that's going to change, because is Konate going to stay? Yes, no. So there's going to be changes in terms of who's in front of him. Whether Konate's there next season, I think Van Dijk goes, whether it's this summer or next summer. So there's changes. So there has to be a synergy and some relationship between whichever keeper with the defenders in front of him. So you can't compare. It's not like for like. It's like for like. But I do see him being there. I think we do have to accept that he's not going to play a full season, and just hope that whatever his issues are, they're able just to minimise some of those absences. And if he needs a bit of time to kind of warm up to come back into the team, then do so rather than rushing him back and then he plays 3-4 games and he's out again, which has happened even in the previous regime as well. So yeah, but I think that what he brings is not only his experience in his class, but there's a belief that he brings being on the pitch that there's a lot of players don't have that at the moment for us.
I see. I think the belief only counts for so much if you are playing matches. And I think his body is going to continue to let him down. I think there'll be more periods out of the team. And I think that transition to Mashvili as number one will probably be sooner than some people think.
He doesn't have as many injuries. He has many injuries for a goalkeeper, but compared to the likes of, I don't know, a Joel Matip, a Joe Gomez, it's nothing. He misses 5-6 games a season, which for a goalkeeper is a lot, but it's not. We can survive. As long as we've got decent number two, we'll be fine. I think his injuries, and I think
just remember how much we relied on Keller last season. Long spells. It's been a similar story this season, but more broken up, I guess. Okay, look, just before we leave, I do want to touch upon because there was a cup final today, right? So the first trophy of the season was handed out, and unfortunately for Arsenal, they went down 2-0 at Wembley to Man City, who are currently on their coattails for the league title. Many people saying that Arsenal have pretty much sealed the deal with the title, 9 points ahead with the game in hand, but yet to go to the Etihad. So this was a bit of a dress rehearsal, as they like to say, for that fixture. And I thought it was fairly emphatic. I was really impressed with City. You might look at it and say Arsenal a bit lackluster, but I thought City came into the game with a game plan, but also an intent to get the job done. And the way they dialed it up in the second half and really put it on Arsenal, securing the victory with a two goals from Nico O'Reilly, was super impressive. So I'm hoping that means we can see City, I don't know, just pick it up a little bit in the league so we can at least extend the race a little bit longer. How did you feel about the match, Double S, and did it do anything to change your view of what might happen with the title race?
No, Arsenal won this title race quite easily. They deserve to. They've been the most consistent team. I won't say the best, but they've been the most consistent team, and they get the job done. You can tell from what I could see, and looking at the comments, whatever. It seems that Man City needed this more than Arsenal did. Do you know what I mean? You can see that. I think Arsenal of course, they wanted to win it, but I don't really think it affects their season one way or the other. If they win it, great. If they don't, they don't. It's like when we lost to Newcastle. Yeah, okay. I was gutted on the day, but
you got over it. I think difference is we had a 12-point lead. There is there is a bigger element of doubt or a bit of margin for things going the other way.
Course. Yeah. Not all elements are exactly the same. I understand that, but it's similar. And I just think ultimately, if you're an Arsenal fan, and if you're even after you've wait 22 years for a league title,
that's what matters. Yeah.
That's really what matters. It's like no one's going to say, "Oh, you lost." I remember in 1994, Man United, they lost to Aston Villa in the Coca-Cola Cup final. Nobody cares. Do you know why? Because they won the double. They won the league that season and the FA Cup. It is what it is. I really don't think it makes a difference. Okay, we can laugh at Arsenal for 24 hours. Of course, we can do that. But realistically, any rivals laughing at Arsenal really need to look in the mirror, really, because we have let this abomination happen.
But James Double-S, don't forget, it means a lot to Newcastle. They had a parade after their League Cup win.
I'm pretty sure Pep would not have a parade.
They were launching it up.
Unless it's Pep's leaving parade or he's celebrating a cup double. I'm not sure that's going to happen. But Jez, any thoughts on that result performance from you? Because one thing I'd say, right, is Jay made a really good point about the desire of City, right? Because that was he first won the League Cup in 2018, and this is his 5th League Cup win. So I think he's out there as the top guy in this competition. So he had that, and you could see when that I think it was when the first goal went in, he was kicking the advertising hoardings like it abused a family member. He's really like
Ket's
pumped
Bayer
up.
for Newcastle
Yeah.
all those years ago.
He was really loving it. But how did you see the result, and does it mean anything?
I think kind of time will tell. I think Arsenal, what they have to prove, and kind of would suspect that they will, is that they're just not bottlers. Because they've been in a position before, they've been so far ahead, and City pegged them back. So it's whether they've got that psychological element to kind of go, you know what, we give it a go, and then we move on. It's like how they can, and how that shows up in that game at the Etihad, I think, because now City have got a bit of potentially a psychological edge over them. It's kind of like, yes, we beat you recently. Now we come into our patch. Let's see how it goes. So it'd be interesting to see how Arsenal respond. But like JWS says, there's no reason for them not to win the Premier League. But ultimately, with Arsenal, it's in their hands, and they need to just get over the line. I think for them, if they had won it, then that would have been 2 fingers up at everybody, and then that's it. Season's like done then, because
no more quad talk.
Contest. Yeah, there's no more quad talk as well, which for us.
You didn't hear that talk from me. I don't know who was talking that talk.
Yeah, bringing down a peg or two. It's just like, because the way that they're winning this season. I know there's a whole thing about how long they're taking with throw-ins and the set pieces, all the rest of it. But it's a domestic trophy. Yeah, if that's all that City get, is that a good season for them? I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it's nothing major.
Yeah. Well, the mission is to win the title, and
Yeah.
that's what they need to fulfill. Let's see if they achieve that. Big thanks going out to Jez, to JWS,
Thank you for having me.
and to Mike, who had to leave us earlier. I'll just put out JWS's business. He actually climbed out off his deathbed, gave himself a slap in the mirror, gave himself a pep talk, and climbed into his pod. He was actually the first in the waiting room.
I'm like Terry Butcher. Remember Terry
ready to
Butcher
go.
with a bandage on his head?
Yeah, bandage around his head, that there was blood seeping out of it, and here he is still. So we really appreciate your efforts for joining us, and especially heading into that international break where we've got 2 weeks of not watching Trent Alexander-Arnold for England. Now, you can catch us when we return, and that will be on what's the date? Someone put up the date for me. We play Man City in the FA Cup.
Is it
Whenever
the
that-
4th?
on the 4th.
Easter weekend.
Thank you.
Easter weekend.
So
Oh, okay.
that could be a very joyful Easter for us, full of promise and hope for the future, or we could just crush our dreams of a cup double. We'll see. But we shall catch you then anyway at some point, and take care of yourselves during this international break. Don't eat too many Easter eggs, and don't pick up too many chicks. You can follow us. I don't know. I probably don't. I'm tired. You can follow us at LFC Agenda Pod on YouTube, on Instagram, and on TikTok. And obviously, if you're watching or listening on Spotify or Apple, tune in or the like, you can follow us there. Please subscribe, please follow, please give us a 5-star rating.
Go on, Jess. There you go.
We should do it. We should time it after
I-
3. 1, 2, 3.
Please give us a 5-star rating. Oh,
There you go.
Fantastic. I think that was a draw.
I love
There you
And
go.
we shall catch you soon. You never walk alone.
Right.